Am I audible properly?
Yes.
Okay. So today we are going to cover about inheritance. Inheritance. So what is inheritance in C++? In our previous classes we have seen about what is class and what is object. I'll just briefly explain these two in a very short time. So class is basically think of a situation where I want to handle student data. I want to store the details of a student. So in C++, there are so many inbuilt data types like integer to store the int values, to string to store the string values, float, right? There are so many inbuilt means these are already available in C++ language. These are all defined in C++ languages. But in case of student data, these none of these can be used. Why? Because student is not a just a single entity, it is a object, right? Student is a object which has so many properties, so many attributes. Like student can have their own name, student can have their own address, student can have their own roll number. So many properties is associated with this student object, right? And so in that particular case we cannot use just one integer data type to store all the data, nor even we can use string data type to store all the details of a string. So in this case what we need to do is we need to have a data type of student to store the details of student. Okay, now why C++ doesn't have created this data type for us? If C++ can create data type integer, string, and there are much more, then why does the C++ doesn't create a inbuilt data type for student or maybe for employee? Why does C++ doesn't have created this one? This is because this is going to be totally different from one programmer to another programmer. Let's say in my case of a student, I just want to store name and roll number, that's it. But someone other programmer want also to store name, roll number, as well as address of the student. So this is totally based on a requirement, what data I want to store, what data I don't want. So that's why C++ doesn't have created any data type for this student, employee, or any other objects. It totally depends on a programmer, what the programmer want to do and what the programmer wants to store the data. So we have learned class. Class is what? A data type. Class is a data type, and this is not inbuilt data type, this is user defined data type. User defined means as a programmer we create our own data type. If I want to store the students data, then I will create a data type named student, and inside this I can some properties like if I want to store some data about a student like name, so name will be obviously string type, so I will define a string name. If I want to store roll number, so I will like written like write like something int roll number, right? So it totally depend on us what I want to do, what I want to store. So this is our own built data type, we create this data type. Okay, and now what is object? Whenever we create any variables like int a is equals to 10, what we do here, first of all the data type of what type of data I want, and this is the variable name, right? whenever we write something like this in our memory, there will be a separate memory location named this A. The location name will be A, and whatever we initialize the value, this is going to be inside this memory location, right? So whenever we create inbuilt data types, these will be termed as variables. But whenever we create any data type of our class, like we have a class student, right? And in this we have so many written codes, properties, functions, all are. So in that case, whenever we want to create any variables of our class, like student, let's say s1 is our name of variable, new student. So this is how we create a variable of student data type. So this is our data type, this is the variable name, and this is the syntax how we create. We are going to look for this, but for now just think this is our variable of student data type, right? Now the name will be changed for this variable. This is no longer we will be termed as variable. This is now become object for us. That is what, whenever we create variables of our class data type, that variable is termed as objects. So this is just a short description of class and object. We already have discussed in our last class in a great detail. So now we can continue our inheritance part. Okay, now what is inheritance in C++? Let's have a look. Inheritance is the property of programming language of C++ where a class can inherit a property of other class. Take very simple and real examples. This is my father, this is my mother, and this is me, Khushbu. Okay? Okay, now as a child of my parents, there will be some property of both my parents, right? Let's say my father is fair, then this property will be inherited by me. Or maybe my mother is something in black color, so this property can be inherited by me, right? So any one of these property will be inside me, or maybe a combination of these two. Maybe I am not so fair nor even so black, so I'll be in middle of somewhere, right? So the thing is, let's say my mother eyes is very big and beautiful, so I'll be have this one. So this is the property with my mother, right? So the meaning is that as a child we inherit some properties with our parents, right? And our parents also inherit properties from their parents, right? This process is continuously from our age, right? From the human age. So in the same way, let's say I have created a class student, okay? And now some other class, in this class I'll have some like int roll number and int name or string name. So now some other class wants to use these two variables inside that. So what can I do? I'll just inherit this student class. It will be confusing for us, but let's just see the examples. So for now, let's just understand that inheritance is the property of programming language of C++ where a class can inherit the property of other class. Meaning that this will be our class 1, let's say give a name of class 1, and this class has some property. And now when I create some other class, this class is going to not create all the variables, it is going to inherit this class. Let's just see the example so it will be more clear for us. Okay, so in the same way, the class which inherit the property is called derived class, and the class which provides the property is called a base class. Just in the case our parent and child relationship, this is my parent, these are my parents, and this is me, so I'll be obviously termed as child, right? and these will be my parents. So I inherit property from them. They do not inherit property from me. This is the vice versa is not right, not correct. I inherit properties from them, right? So let's say this is my father, parents, and this is me. So I will inherit property from these, from my parents. So this will be termed as base class, and this will be termed as derived class or child class, or this will be termed as parent class. But before that, there will be a question to us that why do we need inheritance? Why do we need to inherit property of other base classes? Okay, listen. Actually, what happens is that in our real life examples, let's say I want to create a school management software. School management software. It is looking very simple and very easy to manage, but behind the code it is going to be very very complicated. Let's say I want to create a hospital management program, hospital management software. So it is going to take a very long time to develop, right? And because of that, there will be so many programmers writing the code every day, writing the code every day, right? So they have to do a lot of work. Now in our day to day life, what we do, we always try to make our work easy, make our work easy, right? Just in the case of our day to day life, we use the other gadgets to make our life easy. We use the alarm to wake up early in the morning, right? We use our refrigerator, we use our oven to make serve the hot food, right? So these kind of things we always use to make our work easy and easy. We use vehicle. Why do we don't just go by foot? We use our vehicle to reach the office early, so that we can save some time for us, right? So in the same way as we do in our day to day life, we always try to make the programming easy as well as time saving. We always try to save our time. So let's say suppose I have created a class A, I have given the name class A, and I have some variables and number of variables, okay, inside this class. Now let's say I want a class B. I want the same number of variables plus two or more variables. Let's say I have n variables again, and I also need k and t variable. So in this case, why I will create the n number of variables again in this class? If they have already declared, they have already defined somewhere in the class A, then why don't use this one? Why we create the same number of variables again? So this way we are going to optimize our code. We are going to make our programming more easy and more time saver. This is going to be very time saving, right? Because let's say I have 1,000 number of variables, 1,000 number of variables have created in a class, and now I want again that same 1,000 number of variables, not different, the same number of variables somewhere else in my coding. So why I will just create the 100 number or 1,000 number of variables again? Instead of that, I'll just use these variables inside this class A. So I'll just inherit these variables in my class B. This is how we use inheritance. We just inherit the properties which I want from the other one. If the other one has already that these properties, then I'll just inherit from them instead of creating the new one. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah, it's a clear map. So
Okay.
my question could be,
Mm-hmm.
my question could be if maybe you have some maybe there's a property that other people
Okay, subclass, some, sorry, but
But you still want to inherit some properties from that given class.
yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Yes.
So we have some properties in class A and we want to inherit in class B. That's what you are saying or anything else?
Yes, but in class B,
Uh-huh.
we need more, we need some properties you need are not in class A.
Okay, okay, that's not a problem. Let's say this is my house, this is your house, and inside my house I need some sugar to create sugar to have to cook my coffee, to cook my to prepare my tea. Okay, I need some sugar, but inside my home there is no sugar right now. What will I do? I'll just ask for you, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
So, but I already have my own tea. Do not have sugar, but I have my tea, and you also have your tea, right? So,
Okay.
I only ask you for, yes, yes, I,
You only sugar and then the rest you don't need it.
yes, yes, that's right. Because I will only ask for you which you already have, and you can give to me. Inside my home there will be n number of things, but I don't ask for every each and everything. I will ask only for that which I need right now, and you all have that property. So if class A has some number of variables and class B again want the same number of variables plus some extra variables, so it will create their own variable. There is no issue.
Okay, okay.
Okay, all right. So we have
Well
learned.
understood.
Okay, now defining derived classes. We have learned about what is base class and derived class. So that class which inherit the property from other class, this will be termed as derived class, and this will be termed as base class, which gives some properties. So now what is how we derived our these derived classes. A derived class can be defined by specifying its relationship with the base in addition to its own details. This means that, let's say I have a class B and I want to inherit class A. Okay, so this is
Yes, ma'am.
there is a very simple condition, a simple statement here. Class in addition to its own details, it this class B can have their own details, plus if this class B wants A details as well, so it is going to inherit the class A, but it can have their own details in class B.
Well
Okay.
noted, ma'am.
Okay, so this is now the syntax. How do we actually create our derived class? So what I need to do is I need to write class, the derived class name, and this colon is going to be used, and this is going to be visibility mode. We haven't learned about this yet, but we are going to look for this, and then this class name. Actually just see an example, then it will be more clear. Let's say we have a class name A and there will be some property, and now I want class B to inherit the class A. Then what I will do, I will write first of all class, then the derived class name, we have derived class name B here, and then the colon, and for now I'll just write public here, and then the base class name. What is base class name here?
A.
A. So this is how we derived a class. This B is now will be termed as derived class, and this A will be termed as base class. So this is just the simple syntax. We just need to write the class, then the class name, and this column will be provided here, and the visibility mode and the base class name. So this is very simple. We are going to look for the program, then it will be more clear for us. All right. Now, what is visibility mode? Visibility mode. We haven't talked about this one for a long, but this is one of the very basic and very very important. When a class inherit other class, then it has to show where the inherited part will be copied. Actually, there are three visibility mode: public, private, and you say protected. First of all, what is visibility mode? Visibility means how we can see that. Let's say this is my house, this is your, so there will be some visibility. We live in near to each other, right? But still we have some kind of visibility. If I will be in my garden, then if you also in your garden, then I can see you clearly, right? But let's say you and I am inside my garden, and obviously there will be some door inside your home, outside your home, so that's why I cannot see you clearly, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So visibility is basically how we uh, how much we are visible to each other. Visibility mode whether the features of the base class are privately derived or publicly derived. Let's just see the example first of all, then it will be more clear for us. Mm, okay. Okay. There are what happened? Class A. Inside this class A, let's say I have integer A, integer B, okay, and this class B has integer C, okay, and this B class has also inherited class A. Now, what will exactly happen? Class A has integer A, integer B, class B has integer C, but it also has inherited class C. So actually what happened inside our memory? This is very important. Whenever we create any variables, there will be a separate memory location for that. In the same way, whenever we create any class, there will be definitely going to be a memory location for that. So let's say this is our class A. So what the variables will be inside there? Integer A and integer B, right? Let's say this is my class B memory location. So what will be inside this? We will have integer C, but class A has also been inherited by class B, right? Class B has inherited the properties of class A, which basically means that whatever inside this class A, it is all going to be inserted inside class B. So we will have integer A, integer B, and as well as their own property integer C. So this is what exactly will happen inside our memory location, right? Now this is clear, right? Okay, now let's talk about visibility mode. So let's say this is me and this is my friend. Okay, okay, we are very good friend to each other, but there is always a limit of friendship, right? Meaning that I'll share all the things with him or her, and she shares all the thing with me. But is it really we share 100% to each other? No, never, never. We don't share 100% to with no other people. This is all. This 100% will be only inside me. I can share 90%, 50%. If someone is more close to me, I will share 95%. But 100% is not never going to be, right? So in the same way, let's say I have created some class A and there are n number of variables. So this class A is going to share all the variables to other class. Is it good to use this kind of thing? There will be definitely some private things to class A which is not will be inherited by other classes, right? There will be some thoughts, some stories will definitely inside my mind which I haven't shared with anyone else, right? In the same way, class A has some properties which is going to be public, but some property which will be definitely be private for only class A, right? I have some story about my family, about my friendship, which is very public, meaning that everyone knows about these all. But there will be some other stories which you only know my best friends. But there will be some parts, some stories which I haven't shared with anyone, not shared anyone, right? So in the same way, class A has some properties which is public, which means that it can be inherited by other class, but class A will also have some properties which is going to be private. That means that only A will be access this class, these variables. And there will be some protected means which is a kind of middle in somewhere public and private. You can think of this as of now. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now we have talked about public, private, protected. How do we actually define? Let's say I have created a class A. Inside this class, I want some private variables, which basically means that no one can inherit this. This is only for private class A. So how will I do? I will write for private and the colon, and I will write some variables which will be private by default, meaning that this private variables is only for class A. Now I want some other variables which can be public, meaning that others can inherit this. So I will write public here. This is the syntax, and I will write the variables or functions, whatever I want, which means that whenever a class B, let's say class B will inherit, then this private part will be accessed by this class B. Only the public part will be accessed. Okay, and now the protected one. So for now, let's skip this protected because we are going to learn about this later. But let's say just focus now private and public. So what exactly will happen now? Let's see another example. So let's say I have created class A, public, just create the private one, private, and let's say int x is private. Okay, and now I will create public, some variables with public, int y, int z. Okay, this class finished. Now let's create a class B which is going to inherit the class A. So class name, then the public. Public means we want all the public variables of class A inside class B. That's why I have written class public here. Public, we are going to learn more about this one. What do we write here actually? Now inside this I only have a variable k. Now what will exactly happen in our memory? So what exactly will happen is that this is our class A, and inside this we have x, we have y, we have z. This is our class B. Now this has their own variable k, so this will be there definitely. Now we have inherited the class A, but definitely we cannot access the private part of private information about A, right? We only can access the public information. So public information, what are those? y and z. So only y and z will be inside the class P. X cannot be accessed by class P. Okay, so this is how we inherit the class. So we have private, public. So public information can be accessed by others classes, but private information, private variables, private functions cannot be accessed by other classes. Okay.
Yes, now it's clear.
Okay, now let's come to our slide part. Visibility mode specifies whether the features of the base class are privately derived or publicly derived. Publicly or privately derived means here like whenever we derived any class and whatever we write here and the name of the name of the class. Okay, so whatever we write here is termed as privately derived or publicly derived. We are going to look for this more. So let's say whenever I will write public, what will actually happen? We are going to see that. When a base class is privately inherited by derived class, public members of the base class become private members of the derived class. This is very important. Let's again create the same example. We have class A. We have some private variables. Let's say int x. Again the same example. Int z only. And this is our class B. And I have just talked about this privately derived, publicly derived, meaning whatever we write here, whether we write private, then this will be termed as privately derived. Okay, and if I write public here, this will be termed as publicly derived. Okay, just the definition I am talking about. So now for now let's just publicly derived class A. Publicly derived class A. Okay, so what exactly happened in publicly derived? So when a base class is privately inherited, okay, let's say not, where is erasure? Okay, so now let's privately derived the class A. Privately derived meaning what? Whenever a base class is privately inherited by derived class, public members of the base class become private members of the derived class. Did you get this point? Public, public members of the base class became private members of the derived class. Meaning is that if let's say we have a variable public in public section int z, okay, right, we have a variable int z. Whenever we declare the whenever we inherit in private mode, then what happen is that it is going to, this public int z is going to be private here. Private int z. This is not going to be happen here. It is going to be inside the memory.
But is it going to access?
Yes, yes.
Access in private.
Yes. What exactly happen is that if I inherit class A inside the class B, let's say just here, inside the class A, I'm not able to access the pane here. Okay, let's just remove this one. So whenever we inherit the property of class A in private mode, there are two modes, right? Private mode and public mode. Let's just take a simple example. Let's say I want to transfer some money to you. Okay, but I can do in the two ways. I can transfer the money in a privately, or I can transfer you in publicly, meaning that everyone will know about this, that I have transferred some money to you. But in private, only you and me will be able to know about this, right? So there is basically two modes of doing anything, whether it will be private or it will be public, right? So in the same way, what exactly will happen in public or private? Whenever, let's say, I have inherited the class A inside the class B in a private mode, not in public mode, in private mode. Then what exactly happened inside the memory is that, let's say my class A, and it has some private variables x and public variable z, right? Let's say I have inherited the class in private mode. In private mode, what will exactly happen is that whatever the variables inside A is public, it is going to be private in class B. So Z will be private by default for the class B. Are you getting this point?
Okay. Yes, I'm getting.
Okay. So this is the rule which we have defined in our inheritance. These are the rules. So the first rule says that whenever we inherit a base class in private, then the public members of the base class become private members of the derived class. Now, the result is that no member of the base class is accessible to the object of the derived class. What does this say?
Okay, if it's not a,
Haha.
if it's not access,
Yes, yes.
if the direct class is not going to access the members of A, for example,
Haha.
what is the need? What is the need of letting A do that? Because
Let
it's not going to access it.
no, we are going to access this. Let's say this is public integer z. We have a variable called z, okay? And inside our class B, I also want a variable in private mode of name with z. Let's say you have some sugar in your home, or maybe let's say in a shop. So inside a shop, it is in public mode, right? This sugar is public right now, meaning that everyone can buy it. But let's say I want the same sugar, but in private. I don't want to share with anyone. So what I will do? I will just ask for the shop to sell this sugar. Now this sugar is private for me. That means that buy it. This is not possible right now.
Okay.
So I am accessing the same sugar but in different mode. Here it is public because this is inside a shop. So inside a shop, whoever goes just pay for it and everyone can buy it, right? But whenever this sugar will be inside my home, no other can buy without my permission. Or this is not for selling right now. This is for my personal use, right? So in the same way, let's say this is our class A, and inside this there is a variable called Z in public. But let's say in class B, I want the same variable name but in private mode, not public. So what will I do? I'll just inherit this class in private mode, so that this Z should be now inside my class B will be in the mode of private. Is it clear now?
What if I inherit another class,
Mm-hmm.
another class which is in, let's say, another class C.
Another class C.
We also, yeah, we also inherited, say, let us inherit class B
Mm-hmm.
in private mode again.
Private mode. Okay. So for now we don't have. Yes. So let's say we have a public method int k in class B. Okay. Now class C wants to inherit this class B, right? This is what we were talking about. So this is now this class integer z is never going to be accessed by this class C, because we just have learned that private members is no access for other classes. This is only for class A. This private B int z is now private for class B, right? So this z cannot be accessed by some other classes. Only the public for now can be accessed by other classes. Okay, so only the class. So now for int k is in public, so here it will come to private mode, private int k. So the first thing we have learned about is that whenever a class inherits some other classes in the mode of private, then public functions, public variables will be become private inside the derived class. Okay. The result is that no member of the base class is accessible to the objects of derived class. This is we are going to look for another time, because we need to have the objects concept in more detail. Okay, now private members of a base class will never become the members of its derived class. This is what we have talked about, that if I have some story of my private, then I'm not going to share this with anyone, right? So in the same way, if there are some variables in the mode of private, this variable is never going to be accessed by other one, right? So this is the statement: private members of a base class will never become the members of the derived class, meaning that private members cannot be accessible. Okay, so let's say here we have some class ABC. We have a class ABC, and I have inherited class XYZ. So there will be definitely XYZ, a class will be definitely be there in private derivation. So member of ABC is going to be here. We have just seen in memory location, right? If we have in class A XY, then if I inherit then class B in public mode, not in private, then this X and Y will be here in class B, right? So this is just the short example of that. And this diagram I'll talk about in the next class. Okay, so I hope is there will be no confusion, no any doubts for today's class.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, thank you for today then.